I'm just waiting for the new one to start for anyone who's watching. Um, See, the internet seems to be working, but for some reason the stream was interrupted. There we are. But we're back now. So, like I said in the last stream, it is harder for us to actually eat well because of the availability of unhealthy foods in the landscape, or difficult food choices in the landscape, where we have little to say about the quantity because they come packaged. They're just very high calorie foods, very calorie dense foods that are very palatable, so we eat a lot of them. We have very little to say about the composition, the quality of the foods, right? What is actually in there in terms of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, salts, and how they're composed. And because they're so available, it is very difficult to avoid eating them. I think that is something that we just need to be aware of and need to keep in mind when it comes to the idea that we can be in control of our diets. It's going to take a lot of education, learning, developing skills, effort to actually develop the skills and abilities to honestly be good at eating well with the focus on our health and longevity. Hey, look at us. It is 10 minutes to 6. And that means that it's also time to switch to the kitchen for that cup of coffee, because the mobility workout is done. So I'm just gonna switch, and we're gonna have a slightly different view here. Don't worry, I'm still here. Let's see. Live. This is 463 continued. Chat. Health. There we go. That's better. And here we are. So, for anyone who wants to drop by, the title is up to date now. Something went wrong with the stream before, but now here we are. I'm just gonna put on a sweater, walk into the kitchen, make myself a cup of coffee that we deserve. There we go. And make some other preparations for breakfast for the family before I'm going to go out on a short walk this morning. Let's see what the day has in store for us. I'm just wondering if there we go. The dishwasher didn't run. So you're going to have some running water. I'll quickly wash the cap of the milk foamer. Sorry about that. I hope that's not too disruptive or disturbing for you. There we go. So hey, let's continue the conversation from my kitchen, and I'm not sure, maybe you can let me know in chat. You can let me know if you would want me to stop the stream, like have like a workout stream separately, and then have a good morning, let's have a little chat stream after. I'm fine with that also. It depends, I guess, very much on what we enjoy more, or if we're okay with the this is just proving to be not a good morning for me, I guess. Or if we're okay with the camera switch from the live stream to the kitchen setting. But hey, so look, we did some mobility, we did some work. It is 5:55 a.m. and I'm gonna make a cup of coffee. And while we wait for the coffee to brew, we can talk a bit more about food and food choices, because the framing for the conversation is important. I think the framing for the conversation needs to center around, well, why would we want to stay fit and healthy for life? Like, what's our overall goal and purpose here, right? Because there are a lot of things that we can spend our time on, if you think about it. There are a lot of things that we can choose to invest our time in. So why would we choose consciously to spend time and effort on eating better, on sleeping better, on moving better, and on trying to stay healthy or healthier? I mean, we're doing pretty alright already, right? And I think the key insight that I gained from my training, the certification course that I did to become a personal trainer and health coach, so that I would be able to coach and train myself, is that basically health and fitness are not primary needs in life. And I think we need to register this in our brains for the purposes of this conversation. Is that definitely not my morning. There we go. When you start to do things differently and new, there's always some hiccups. One of the things that I learned, one of the insights that I had when I got that certification, is that, well, I care about health. But to be very honest, when am I most concerned about my health and fitness? I am most concerned about my health and fitness when I am ill. Thanks for dropping by on this stream as well. I think the last one froze at the end. In my experience, once it freezes, it never unfreezes. And I always wonder whether it's because someone reported the stream and they just stop it for whatever reason. Might happen. But we're back here. How's my back doing? My back is doing great. My back's doing a lot better. You saw before I was doing some mobility exercises. and I was actually able to move and lift the children, groceries, pain-free, and all of the stiffness in my lower back and legs has gone. So all in all, I'd say that the path to recovery is good, and that we're going to hope this trend continues. There's still little moments where I still feel it, especially when I started to do mobility again. But generally, I think that is more or less to be expected, right? And we just need to give it time. So I'm avoiding load, but still training, showing up, working out. And I think that's a net positive at the moment. And I appreciate you dropping by and asking me that. And, do you want to let me know how you're doing, where you're at in the world, what's going on? Go ahead, let me know. I'd be curious to hear how life is treating you and if you're doing well or not. So when do I really care about my health and fitness? Well, I really care about my health and fitness when it begins to lack, right? So when I get sick. And beyond that, it is actually true. I am not that interested in what's going on with my general health and fitness because it doesn't pose a problem for me. And I think in that, exactly that, lies part of the challenge that we face, when it comes to our long-term, well, that was the coffee. Welcome to the Mess and Messy show on my live stream. Now I have to clean up the coffee while we talk, and we're lucky nobody got burnt. Look, the joys of live TV. I'm bummed out because I think that would have been a very nice cup of coffee, actually. So what was I saying? I was saying that we only care about health and fitness when it starts to fail us. And that's an important thing to just keep in mind in general, is that even with the best intentions of trying to be healthy, because we don't notice the ill effects of poor health, but we notice the presence of good health, as in we don't notice that we're not able to run 10 kilometers, right? Because we don't daily run 10 kilometers, but we notice that we have a hard time walking up the stairs. Yeah. But we don't mind having a hard time walking up the stairs because, hey, well, might be not be able to walk up the stairs, but I am fast. I might be a bit out of breath, but I'm still capable of walking up the stairs at the moment. I've just done it. So there isn't really an issue with my health and fitness, is there? And the thing I think they say about cardiovascular disease, right, that heart attack, is that how should I put it? Is that you only notice it when you have the heart attack, I believe. But you don't notice all the build-up, even though there might be some warning signs. So just keep that in mind as a starting point and as a thought starter, is that in general we are probably not as um, as aware of the fact that our health is suffering as we should be. And therefore, we find it hard to take action related to our health and fitness, even though we really should. And one of the easiest and hardest things to do for us, actually, is to take charge of our food. It is easy because eating well is relatively simple and low impact, because we eat 3 times a day anyway, or 5 times a day in some cases. But it is hard because, I'm going to redo that coffee again. It is hard because we are fighting years of training and exposure to food, years of habits, years of flavor development, years of marketing, exposure to marketing, years of conflicting information that also changes over time, and it's not always clear why it's changing, or maybe that also depends on the source of information. So you have all these considerations when it comes to health and fitness and food that you need to factor into the food choices that you're making. But the basics, now let's hope I don't spill any more coffee, the basics are relatively simple and straightforward, right? Because the basics are the following. The basics are, we need to eat within our energy balance. So we need to understand how much energy we expend in a day versus how much we are then going to consume through food, because that is the primary way in which we get the energy we expend. Then we need to balance our macronutrient intake. So how many proteins, fats, carbs are we consuming in a day? And then from there, how we can look at things like micronutrients and supplementation if we feel that we are lacking, things like vitamin D or omega-3. Or some people talk about taking creatine, magnesium, things like that to help us stay fit and healthy and make sure we have all the nutrients we need for life. So there's definitely quite a bit to think about and consider when it comes to food and nutrition. I'm just going to use a fork because I can't find a spoon. They're all in the dishwasher, I guess. I think, those are the basics of nutrition. There are a lot of problems that we can solve by eating smarter, by eating better. If we become aware of our foods and the impacts foods can have, um, the impact foods can have on us, on our overall health and well-being. But we need to be willing to invest time and energy to actually learn about what foods might actually do for us in life. Alex, what do we do here? Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. We talk about health and fitness. I just finished my mobility routine. The chat froze, so I had to restart, sadly. And we're discussing um, food and health while I have my morning coffee before I go out on a short walk before the day starts. And that being said, I hope you're doing well where you're at in the world, and I appreciate you dropping by and saying hi. Um, and whether it's the start of the day or the end of the day for you, for me it's the start of the day at 6 a.m. I hope you have a good night or a good day where you're at. So what are some of the things that food can help us solve? Well, I think the big thing is um, weight management, right? I think weight management, when it comes to short and long-term health, is important for different reasons. So let's just take a look at that for a moment. Thanks for dropping by, Lewis. I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you're having a good start of the day or end of the day, um, where you're at in the world. And I wish you well for the day ahead, and what is to come. So why is weight management so important? Well, I think in general, it is very hard to say. I don't know what's going on this morning. Everything seems to be a bit messy. Maybe it's because I was up at 4, so I didn't really get enough sleep. Thanks a lot. Never had a bad day. I love that. So why is weight management important, right? For a couple of reasons, but you know, it's always important to frame this conversation about weight because it's a very sensitive topic, and I think there's also a lot of misrepresentation. Just because you're overweight, and sometimes even when you're obese, doesn't mean that you're unhealthy, right? It seems that you can carry excess weight, excess fat on your body and still have very good health markers, be cardiorespiratory fit, be strong, be able to do the things you want to do, move well, etc. So that's completely fine. I don't think there's a big issue there. I think in general, when it comes to weight management, is when weight continues to increase over time, right? So there's your natural weight, your natural posture. I am not lean or ripped by any standard. I am the way I am, and I know that when I get within a certain bandwidth of that weight, it's all good. But if I go above that weight, I start to feel bad. If I go below that weight, I also don't feel as good. So apparently, naturally, there's a bit of a set point where I feel really good about myself and everything works the way it's supposed to be working. So when I talk about weight management, I talk about managing my weight to stay within that particular bandwidth. It doesn't have to be less, it shouldn't be more. I want to be somewhere between 83 and 86 kilos at any given time, and I would like to be more muscular and have more lean mass than soft tissue, but um, generally, um, let's see. Um, um, I think the main thing here is if we want to, um, if we want to, sorry, we don't tolerate name calling on the channel to anyone in the chat. So no matter how smart they think they are. Um, Patrick Bateman, thanks for dropping by. I think I've seen you on the stream before. I appreciate you dropping by and saying hi, and hope you're doing well where you're at in the world. So look, um, when we talk about weight management, we talk about staying within that particular bandwidth and trying to stay well and healthy within that, right? And I think when it comes to weight management, food plays a huge role in that. Because, like I said throughout the stream, it is easier to overeat um, in the food environment we're in right now. So, figuring out the routine from foods that I like and enjoy that sustain me given the level of activity and life that I want to lead, to figuring out how to then get those food into the house by shopping smartly, by having the skills to prepare those foods or the time to prepare those foods, or creating, easy to go to meals that don't take a long time to prepare so that I'm not burdened by the preparation of the food, and then taking control of all of the moments that I can eat and where I am and what I'm exposed to in terms of food is important. I tend to have most control about breakfast and dinner. Lunch I eat outdoors because I'm at work or visiting customers or whatnot. So that is the meal I have to be most flexible on. But even there I can make better choices depending on the day. So that's just worth looking into, right? But weight management, often people jump to, well, we need to exercise more to lose weight. I'd say, well, actually, if you can start to sleep better and start to eat differently, you're probably going to see the most gains in weight management. And if you start to exercise more, you're going to see different health markers improve better. So just, keep that in mind, give that a thought over time. And I guess that's it for this morning. My coffee is almost finished. I need to get changed and get ready to go out for a walk. I appreciate you dropping by. Let's see, Geese, Alex, Patrick. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. Yeah, it is 6:17 a.m. right now, so I get a 30-minute walk in this morning because family tends to wake up around 7. Then we have to have breakfast and get on with the day. Remember, this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I'm 41 years old and I'm training to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by, what's disappointing, the length of the stream or the color of my coffee mug. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, and showing up for a workout, whether that's strength training, conditioning training, or mobility training during the day. And overall, right, All right. Um, so, if that's something you're interested in, we can continue the conversation um, about health and fitness on my channel. And you let me know if there are any questions you have or other things you want to discuss. Until next time, friends, remember, we're good just the way we are. We gotta love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And thanks for dropping by. And remember, friends, subscribe.